Good morning, and welcome back to Saturday Morning Switch. While most of my week has been dedicated to either saving the Zoras in Zelda, or working on other projects, I did find the time to sit down with Super Bomberman R. I learned several things in that time, first and foremost being any Bomberman skills I once had seemed to have mostly abandoned me, but it's also given me a lot to talk about with the Bomber's latest title. So let's dive straight into Saturday Morning Switch's first ever review! I already covered a lot of what Bomberman actually is when I previewed this game a few videos back, but in brief, you're a guy who drops bombs. You blow up bricks, power yourself up, and try to kill either other bombers in multiplayer or enemies in single player. It's all staged in a way where the game slowly but inevitably gets more manic, with the battlefield a veritable labyrinth of impending explosions by the end. That's Bomberman, and that's why it's endured for so very long. Super Bomberman R carries on the decades old torch, though it doesn't do a whole lot in the way of iterating on the formula. It's not that it isn't fun, just that the fun is a bit more obscured than past entries. Let's start with the story mode. A series of 50 levels split into 5 worlds of 10. There is a story about someone or other causing havoc and using 5 generals, so the 8 various Bombermen go off to blow stuff up and save the day, but it's all the blandest, most generic twaddle, and it barely held my attention the first time, let alone when it tried to make me watch the cutscenes each time I played a world. The cartoony visuals are nice, but again the game does very little with them. It's like watching a cutback version of the Tales of skits. Anyway, levels involve you either activating some switches, destroying all enemies, defeating a boss, or some other objective, and the bosses have one of the game's various power-ups. There's Magnet Bomber, for example, whose bombs sometimes chase you, but you can tell you're fighting the AI as they run in very deliberate straight lines and stop precisely, the exact opposite of your typical manic human player. You can't psych out a computer, as it were. The main thing I realised though, is this mode is surprisingly tough. Okay, yes, I fully admit that could just be me sucking, but I've yet to beat the first world, even on beginner. The 3 difficulty levels change a few things, such as the number of lives you get and how fast the enemies move, with them being insultingly slow on the lowest setting. It even makes some enemies harder, like the frogs who bounce around, as they happily spend seconds at a time in the sky, while your perfectly placed bomb goes off too soon to kill them. This would all be fine though, if it weren't for the small annoyances in the control scheme. Bomberman is a game about precision, and the control scheme for this game isn't. For whatever rhyme or reason, there's a minor delay between input and effect. It's most obviously notable when you go into a corner and stop moving. You can see your character running for about half a second or so after you let go of the stick. But this does mean when you're running full pelt on the battlefield, bombs don't always go where you want, and you can't always get into the cul-de-sac you need to hide in to survive. As such, deaths that essentially weren't your fault become a major sticking point, and something that flat out should never have occurred in this kind of game. Now I should note, as I record this, Konami have confirmed they're working on an update for the game, so here's hoping that input lag is at the top of the fix list. It doesn't make the game unplayable, but it introduces an element of cautiousness and trepidation that doesn't suit the manic experience the game should offer. As for the touted 3D aspect to levels, it's there, but it doesn't add a lot to the experience. There are some creative levels in the multiplayer where you can use shifting platforms to walk atop blocks, but it doesn't add much extra strategy, as there's little way to interact with the other levels. Slopes do allow you to bomb across levels, but it just feels like 2 levels welded together instead of a 3rd dimension. Speaking of multiplayer, this is where you'll be spending most of your time. While I seemingly got unlucky when I was recording this footage, I had no problems over the past week finding matches in both the League and free battle modes, and most of those games were lag free. Well, besides that input malarkey I mentioned before. League is the equivalent of ranked in this, allowing you to earn BP which can rank you up. I can't tell you what the ranks really denote though, as I tend to get schooled in this mode, which offers a strict rule set and only 4 player matches, and a fairly limited map pool doesn't help matters as experiences start to feel very samey, very fast. It certainly didn't seem to limit who I could match with, as I played people from various different league levels. And while it only takes 2 victories to win a match, this also means that if all 3 players fail to win any rounds, they all get the last place penalty, making the mode somewhat merciless. Luckily, if you die, you do get to come back as a revenge bomber. Hovering around the side of the battlefield, you can lob singular bombs in, getting to return to the action if you bump someone off. Sadly, you can't control the range, but it does add another hectic layer, and ensures dead players have something to do. My only wish is that alive players couldn't kick bombs off of one side off the map and bring them back on the other side, making me think there's invisible revenge bombers out for me. As for free battle, this is where you see a bit more variety in the gameplay. You can host and join lobbies with options for public and private, and all rules and maps you own available. Whether you want a classic no frills experience, or want to lower the clock and have all chaos let loose, you can set it up here. This is also where you get access to the 8-player battles that showcase Bomberman at its best, though I've only managed to get a 5-player game started. And it's not because of a lack of players either. For some insane reason, the game forces a 40-second countdown timer on lobbies. Sure, this means you won't have a group of players impatiently waiting to start, but it also means the game usually starts before you can max out the player count. It also leads to the game constantly asking you if you want to continue looking if nobody joins your lobby, almost like it doesn't want you to play. Speaking of things the game doesn't want you to do, the in-game currency is stupidly scarce. With new maps priced at 2,500 or 4,000 a pop, and mere accessories 500, getting 20 coins for a match you lose in League is a little. You can get over 1,000 for beating the planet, and 150 to 200 if you play well in League, but local gives you squit, and considering how all too easy it is to lose, it all feels a little cheap for a game you already paid 50 quid to own. In a mildly merciful twist, you do earn BP for local matches, at the rate of 2 points per round win. It's 500 to rank up from the Beginners League, and the game makes no alterations to either BP or currency for however many players there are or how well you performed. Hard victories are all that matter, which is again a bit of a slap to the face if you had an amazing round but failed to get the win right at the last. And maybe that's the way to sum up this entry to Bomberman. Harsh. Even putting aside my inability, though weirdly I did pretty well when it took to casual games, the game's very much all or nothing attitude has seeped into every element of the experience. There's still plenty of fun to be had. I mean, I'll definitely be bringing it round to parties in the future as a good laugh for people to have, as the multiplayer is still engaging, and being able to have a single player on just one Joy-Con helps accessibility. But between input lag, the in-game currency, the fairly flat single player, and a tedious ranking system, it's a game you can't fall in love with. Hopefully that update improves matters. Maybe in a few months I'll look back on this and smile at how much better of an experience it offers. But for what it is, right now, I'd pass. Thanks for watching our 10th episode. Feel free to let us know in the comments what your thoughts on the latest Bomberman title are, and if you enjoyed this video, why not give us a like or subscribe? Next week's episode will be all about the Splatoon 2 test fire, so look forward to that, and I'll see you all then.